Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Wait. Before we start, does this interest you? This distinguished gentleman is now live on Makeshift.com for a grand total of $30. Link in the description below. Make sure you snag one before the time expires because it's not coming back. By the possums, 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 by the possums. Now to your regularly scheduled program. C Peanut 7. Am I the asshole for not sharing my half of my cruise credits with my girlfriend? I booked a 7-day cruise with my girlfriend and I told her I would pay the cost of it to make up for a previous thing I wronged her on. Okay, what did you wrong her on? That's some pretty important information there that you're just casually glossing over. On the cruise, there are also gratuities that are more or less mandatory to pay to the tune of about $110. We had not talked about me paying for that. As part of a promotion with booking the cruise, I got a $150 credit that could be used for any purchase on the ship. In addition, I used a credit card, Amex Platinum, which I pay $700 a year for, but which gave me an additional $200 credit for a total of $350. I told her that I had credits and I would pay for the cost of her gratuities, and I sent her over the money. While I was at guest services, she found out that I actually had $350 and got very upset that I was hiding this from her, and she demanded that I give her half of my credits. Her reasoning was that we're a couple and that this was a cruise I was supposed to share half of everything. I argued that I pay a lot of money to get my extra $200 credit, and I was already covering every obligatory cost for the cruise, like I had agreed to. Am I the asshole for not splitting the extra money I received? My opinion was that I was entitled to the entire amount, and she shouldn't even have felt like the money for the tip was hers, as I had paid the cost of the cruise anyway. Edit, a few have commented that it depends on what I did wrong or if it was a financial wrong. No, it was not a financial wrong. I am choosing not to describe it because it would distract from the point of the post, but I was definitely the asshole, so that's why I made it up for her by taking her on the cruise. No, it would not distract from it. It's a pivotal part of kind of the entire story here. You're on a cruise because you did something that wronged her. What did you do to wrong her? Because the cruise is now subject to a secondary wronging of your girlfriend. What's going on here, bud? You're sweeping some stuff under the rug here. Some additional comments. Ellie729. I'm going with you're the asshole. You apparently did something so egregious that you agreed to pay for a cruise to make up for it. Then squabbled over like $200 of credits? What is that? A handful of drinks and a Royal Caribbean t-shirt? Just break up, LOL. Yeah, dude, what happened to that Amex Platinum credit card you're so proud of? User Dark Chocolate only responds to the previous comment. No, it's just you're the asshole generally. They're a couple. They both are going on the vacation. They both will be spending money on things that you could use these credits for. OP acting like they are his is gross, disgusting, antisocial, anti-family behavior, and he should be embarrassed and ashamed for it. The fact that he posted this is evidence of his intense lack of anything kind and good with him. The fact that this entire cruise is a fucking apology for something else and he managed to turn that into a slight against his partner is absolutely stunning. The level of loser that this man aspires to be is just unreal. He has now stacked his shitty behaviors on top of one another, Lego style. Absolute you're the asshole, full stop, no qualifications. This isn't how a man acts. This isn't how a friend acts. This isn't how you treat people. Round Donut 7793 comments, oh no, it's worse. The entire cruise was a plan with family, his kids, and his ex-wife. Not to spend time together, but for the kids and ex's sake. But not the girlfriend. She got invited and cruise paid for after she found out he lied about it. Not to mention, usually a card that costs that much annually means you have a high spending limit, high perks, and a great income. OP sounds like he's making up for withholding information by letting her participate after the truth came out, and withholding more information. Yeah, they're his credits to use as he pleases, which should include for the kids and his girlfriend. But how hard is it to disclose that and discuss? Oh boy, wow, the plot thickens. Someone then linked a comment that actually gives the context to this, but upon clicking it, turns out OP deleted that comment. So we have user Fiddlesticks here who asked the question that we've been asking the entire time of, what the fuck did you do? And here we go. It's wild that you're paying for an entire cruise to apologize for something that you don't want to talk about on here. But if you're going to do all of that, why are you hiding credits for it? This is supposed to be a gift to her, so you gave her $150 to spend, but you got $200. It's kind of unfair, I suppose, but you're the one buying an entire apology cruise. The whole situation is wild, and you don't mention what you did in the first place to create this situation. Edit, he commented and then deleted that this is a 10+ family member cruise, and he invited his ex-wife on it so she could be there with the kids. He lied about this to his girlfriend, but she found out, so now he's paying for her to come along. Then he lied about how much he was getting for booking their tickets, so I think she's upset that he's always withholding things. Information, money, the truth. You're the asshole. OP thought he could hide from me, that he could delete that comment and no one would see the truth for it. Now, while some people have managed to somewhat summarize what he said, I, on the other hand, fished it from the depths of hell. Posted to r/mytheasshole by user cpeanut7 at 2025-1202, time of 16:23:33 seconds, with negative 338 karma. Found you. It's a complex situation that would warrant its own post, and it would distract from the point of the cruise credits. I had invited my ex to the cruise because I have children and wanted my ex to be able to go on the cruise with the children. We would not be sharing rooms or even be near each other, and we would not be doing any activities together. And also, this was a large family cruise with 10+ family members. I had lied about it to my girlfriend, so I am definitely the one in the wrong for that, which is why I offered for her to come and I'd pay for it. The fact that you deleted this actually just makes it look even worse because now it feels like that you're hiding the fact that, like, oh, not only did you lie to your girlfriend, but you were planning on going on a cruise with your ex-wife, and you got caught, so now you're adding all the extra information. It just makes you look really bad, Mr. fucking Platinum Amex credit card. What a stupid fucking flex. Don't worry, ladies, when I lack in integrity and piss-poor behavior, I make up with my Platinum Amex credit card. I pay $700 a year for this thing, by the way. You look like a goofball, and you act like one too. You're the asshole. Dinosaurus02. Am I the asshole for being furious that my husband gave away my sake and wine after I told him repeatedly not to? I, 30 female, came back from Japan about 2 months ago and brought home an expensive bottle of sake I specifically picked after doing a sake tasting class. I'm not a big drinker, so I chose something I genuinely liked and that my husband would enjoy. It was meant as a for us thing. I also had an unopened bottle of German wine that a friend gifted me 3 months ago. My husband and I had multiple conversations where he asked if he could give the sake to his father, his cousin, or his friends. And I said a strict no every single time. Not vaguely, not jokingly, very clearly. He knew it was sentimental and partially a souvenir. He also refused to drink it the one time I opened it because he had a headache. So I had about 20 milliliters and left the rest untouched. Fast forward to 3 days ago. I'm away from home, and he has friends over after a pub night. I didn't even consider that he would touch the sake or the wine because we've had the don't share this conversation a million times. The next day, I ask him where the sake is. He casually tells me he shared the sake and the unopened wine with his friends, and they finished everything. I was stunned, angry, disappointed. All of it. He then says he forgot that I told him not to give it to anyone. Then he adds that he doesn't remember unimportant stuff. Bear in mind, I had even given him a bottle of whiskey specifically meant for his friends after I returned from my travel. When I confronted him about the sake and wine, he flipped it and said, "Don't let it spoil our relationship," and suggested I see a counselor. See, there's going to a therapist being used as a weapon of conformity again. Am I the asshole for being this upset over something he claims is not a big deal, even though I told him explicitly and repeatedly not to touch it? I'm unable to process the fact that my husband casually crossed a major boundary and is nonchalant about it. Edit, husband and his friends are not alcoholics, he rarely indulges. Second edit, he said, don't let it spoil our relationship, not throw away the relationship. Sincere apologies. So, step 1, see if you can find the wine and the sake online and how much it would cost to import it, and how much it would cost to have it shipped to the US. And show them that price tag of, you're going to pay this to replace the bottle of sake that I told you not to fucking drink or share. The second thing is, once upon a time I had to help a non-specific ex move their belongings from one house to another. Surprise, surprise. This ex was ill, so it was just me and their father who were handling the moving of their house. This ex had a $200 to $300 bottle of whiskey sitting on a shelf for display purposes. Their father grabs that bottle, opens it, and pours glasses and gives it to the movers for them to try and drink and brags about the flavor profile of it, essentially using their child's belongings to get brownie points with strangers. That's what the husband was doing here. It's not that he forgot the restrictions put in place, he purposefully ignored them because he wanted to show off to his friends. He wanted to brag about the fact of, oh, look at this is an actual Japanese imported sake, do you want to try some of it? Ooh, this is an actual imported German wine, let's try some of it. This was a do what you want and ask for forgiveness kind of situation, and he thought that he could just get away with it, and she wouldn't mind. And here we are. I think that if he was slapped with the cost of the wine and the sake and how much it would cost to re-import those, it might change his tone a little bit. Also, while I did mention this earlier again, I really do hate the fact of how often people are weaponizing therapy as a, you're going to conform to what I want you to do, instead of, this is going to be used to help better our relationship. Because him saying that, OP should go see a counselor about the sake being used and don't let it spoil the relationship, that's not so that way they can get over this hurdle of him violating OP's boundaries and completely ignoring a very specific request that she made. This is a, I want you to do what I please and I want you to conform to what I want. Hence, therapy being used as a weapon of conformity. Definitely not the asshole. Classic Blood 2627. Am I the asshole if I stop bailing her out and demanding she financially steps up? Am I the asshole for refusing to keep bailing out my wife and pushing her to file for child support? I, 28 male, am married to L, 29 female. We have 3 kids in the home, my 3 and 1-year-olds and my 10-year-old stepdaughter. We got married after our first child. I love my stepdaughter and treat her as mine, but her bio dad does almost nothing. I've pushed my wife to file for child support. She refuses because she's afraid of 50-50 custody and doesn't want her daughter influenced by him. I think he should still be forced to contribute. From the start, I was clear. I wanted a 50-50 partnership. Right now, I'm basically carrying us. I take home about $2.8K a month after benefits and a 401K on a rotating shift schedule and work overtime and side jobs to keep up. My wife works 8 to 5 as a long-term sub, around $21 an hour, and brings home roughly $1.8K. Her fixed bills are about $800. Our rent is $1,600. I warned her in mid-October that we needed to get ahead for November's rent. On October 30th, she said she had $100 for rent and would have more later. Now at the end of the month, she tells me she only got her normal check, had to pay her bills, and is short again. I smoke weed daily. Meanwhile, right before Thanksgiving, she threw a hotel birthday party for her daughter, paid for everything, and only afterward told me she couldn't cover her share of rent. It's only her share because she died on the hill about this apartment. I doubt her whole $1,000 went to party, but I'm sure her portion did. I'm getting her a cell phone. Mom does parties, I get gifts. This isn't a one-off. For months, I've been grinding extra hours and covering the gap while she avoids hard financial decisions. Child support, finishing her degree to get a better paying contract, sticking to a budget. I'm at a point where I want to stop covering her shortfall on rent and bills and insist that she file for child support and make a serious plan to increase her income, instead of relying on me to plug every hole. My daughter's father is just a bum. Not dangerous. Okay, so the comment in there about I smoke weed daily threw me for a loop because that was such a random insert and didn't feel like it had any reason to be there, so I went to the comments. Now, on every post, there's usually a reasons why you think you're the asshole. Sometimes I cover this if I feel it adds more information, but oftentimes I skip it because normally it doesn't. But for this post, OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I smoke weed every day, but want my wife to do more. While that is true, I work so hard, so consistently, it hurts, man. She doesn't know that pain anymore. When we met, she did. I feel accomplished for taking her out of that space, but feel like the asshole for needing her to come from the space she's going into now. I lamented regularly about these topics with her, so for me to correct my thinking if it's wrong or adjust my ideas/approach could save a lot of cortisol from being produced. So there were a lot of comments being like, wow, OP, really burying the lead with the fact of that I smoke weed every day but want my wife to do more was hidden in the judgment bot's more context from OP comment that's not attached to the main post itself. So then I started wondering, well, the I smoke weed part's there, but not the rest of that. Now, a feature on r/am_I_the_asshole is that the original version of the post, unedited, gets stored as a comment on the original thread, which looks like this here. This was the original post itself, and I highlighted for your convenience, for those of you who are also looking at this visually, there is no mention of the I smoke weed every day comment being within here. So my guess would be is the comments started actually, flaming him for the fact that he buried the lead in the reasons I might be the asshole portion requirement for the subreddit. So he went and added the information into the post and potentially only added that one aspect of it, just randomly in the middle with no bearing on the actual story itself. Now, because I had to hunt down the information and out of frustration I'm definitely now biased on this one, I'm leaning more into the everyone sucks category because it definitely doesn't look good that the information that you swept under the rug was, I smoke weed every day but want my wife to do more. It makes me raise an eyebrow and wonder if there's more going on here. Like, don't get me wrong, your wife definitely made some really dumb decisions, like throwing a party to the point where she could only contribute $100 towards rent. That is a very poor financial decision. And her unwillingness to also get herself into a better financial situation is probably also extremely frustrating. But OP's comment about smoking weed and wanting his wife to do more rubs me the wrong way, so, well, it might be a bit biased because I feel like OP was sweeping things under the rug with that comment there. I'm gonna go with everyone sucks here. But let me know what you think in the comments. Icy Quantity 7383. Am I the asshole for telling my sister that if she needs this much hand-holding, I won't have her babysit anymore? I'm very good friends with the woman across the hall from me. She's a single mom to 2 kids, 2 and 6, and I help her a lot with the kids. She handles school and daycare drop-off. I do pick up in extracurricular activities. Dinner's a solid 60% her, 20% me, 20% restaurants. When school and daycare are closed, I'm typically the one that stays home with them because my schedule's more flexible. I do get paid for my help with the kids, but I charge her below market rate for babysitting. The older one is out of school all week. I also have the week off, so I'm mostly home with him. But earlier today, I had a dentist appointment, so I left my sister, 18, with him for 2 hours. I left instructions saying that he needed to read for 15 minutes. Could have 30 minutes of screen time, a list of things she could give him when he got hungry, things that require a slight bit of preparation but next to no skill, peanut butter sandwich, dino nuggets with instructions, Kraft mac and cheese, etc. With a note to give him a fruit and vegetable. I also told her to tell him that he can take the dog to the park for a chocolate bar, and left some craft kits out. This should have been the easiest babysitting job ever. She started texting me 10 minutes in with the most basic questions. Like, what is he supposed to read? There's a shelf full of books in the living room. Is he allowed to play with the toys on the table? He wants a snack. What should she give him for lunch? Does she need to go to the park with him and the dog? Does TV count as screen time? I told her any book is fine. She needs to go to the park with him. Figure the rest out based on the instructions and common sense. When I got back, dude was an hour into a movie and my sister was upset that I basically left her to fend for herself and that just because this stuff comes easy to me doesn't mean it does to her. I told her that I left her a page of instructions, toys on the table, a shelf full of books, and that she should be able to figure the rest out on her own, but if she needs this much hand-holding, I'll get another babysitter next time. Aren't you the babysitter? Now she's mad at me because I know she needs the money, and it's not her fault that she didn't know what to do. Now I'm wondering if I was a little harsh because she always did need things to be spelled out for her. Reddit is in the boat of this being, you're the asshole. I'm kind of in the boat here of everyone sucks. Now, as someone who hasn't babysat, I feel like the amount of instructions that were given for a 2-hour period is a lot. A bit of an information overload. Like, there's a lot of information there for just simply what should have been 2 hours worth of time. I feel like some of the information could have just been more simply condensed and left at that. That's also partially because this isn't even OP's kid, it's the neighbor's kid who they're watching and then delegating the task to their sister who's doing her a favor because they have a dentist appointment. However, I do feel like the sister did just fundamentally fail some pretty simple instructions, and just the fact that she had to ask if whether or not the 6-year-old need to be accompanied to the park or not definitely is a massive red flag. And I definitely feel like there is merit to OP's frustration, and I'm trying to figure out, because I haven't babysat before, how much of the sister's questions are incompetence and how much of it is information overload, because this might be their first time watching a child and they don't want to accidentally fuck something up, so they just want to ask all the questions they possibly can to make sure they don't make any mistakes. So I would definitely appreciate some input from people who have babysat before, because I am certainly not one of them. Also, did OP get approval from the mom to have her sister step in as a substitute babysitter while she had the dentist appointment, or did she just make that executive decision? Because I feel like that would be something that, as a parent, I would want to know if my babysitter delegated their responsibilities to someone else. I think while I am leaning towards the everyone sucks here category, depending on what people who have babysat say, that could definitely lead me to going towards not the asshole or you're the asshole. I just don't simply have enough experience in this category, and my brain seems to be locked in the middle of, yeah, this is kind of an everyone sucks here situation. So let me know in the comments. Okay, beginning 356. Am I the asshole for letting a kid go home with his actual parent? I was asked last minute to give a ride to a child on my son's soccer team by my wife and the child's mother, Dana. She's a single mom who's friends with my wife, and they have a weekly ride-sharing system that works for her and my wife. Since my wife is out of town, I agreed with no issue to take the kid to the game. In the past, when I've taken him, he's gotten picked up back at our house after the game or practice by Dana. This time, at the game, Dana's ex, Jay, arrived toward the end. I know him from their time together, and while I've heard terrible things about him through my wife, most of it is relationship stuff between them, and I've never had an issue personally with him. Dana's mother was having a casual convo with him, which I interrupted to ask if Jay was taking the kid home. He said yes. The grandmother didn't object. She just asked me to tell her daughter that her phone battery had died. When I get home, my wife was irate, saying I left the child with an abuser, and how could I allow him to take the kid? She said I was irresponsible and was potentially putting the kid in danger or allowing him to be kidnapped. I think at most this was a misunderstanding, but my wife says I'm in the wrong. Am I the asshole for not being more aware of the ride arrangements and plan for the child getting home? Edit, I'm not a fan of his after their divorce, but they do have their own custodial arrangements. Based on what's been shared with me, he hasn't been accused of any abuse towards the kids. The only times I've seen him since their divorce is when it was his time with the kids. The child could have went home with his grandmother, whom he lives with. I left him with both of them. Update, I messaged Dana and asked if I messed up. She said no, everything was fine, and his dad just came to say hi. The child went home with his grandmother. The thing is, in this scenario, you got lucky. That's really all it boils down to. But you're the asshole because of your attitude and how nonchalant you are about just the general circumstances surrounding this incident. I can't even fathom hearing about the fact of like, yeah, dude, Jay is really abusive towards his girlfriend. He's a problem. Well, I've never personally had a problem with him. Yeah, I wonder why. There's also the red flag of your wife saying, how could you let him take the kid, as if this is something that is out of the ordinary. You also didn't know until well after the fact that the grandma ended up taking the child home. That was added in an update. OP seems to be entirely oblivious to the fact of just because someone's a parent doesn't mean they're not a danger to their own child. I mean, hell, one of the most common forms of kidnapping is a parent who lost custody of their child. So because of OP's attitude, definitely the asshole. But the circumstances surrounding this, because we just do not have enough information, I don't know. Maybe Jay does have split custody of the child. We do not know. The comments are actually split 50-50, with half saying you're the asshole because of, well, his general attitude. Some saying he's the asshole because he didn't verify anything with Dana and just left the kid with a person he knew was abusive and called it a day, somewhat disregarding the previous instructions he had for pickup and drop-off. Others are in the not the asshole category of, well, look, you have no right to deny someone their child, so you would be in the wrong if you didn't hand over the child. And others taking the approach of, not the asshole, not your circus, not your monkey. If Dana had a problem with Jay, she should have informed you, because she didn't, and if he is abusive, that's on Dana. And then of course with a few everyone sucks here's thrown in there. I'm not familiar with the legalities surrounding the whole pickup, drop-off, and all that kind of stuff, and what would actually go into that, so I'm gonna leave that one on the table. But I will say he's the asshole for his general attitude in this post and how he just seems so nonchalant with the actual threats and dangers that could have come along with this. Mostly with the line of him dismissing his wife's concerns because, well, I've never personally had a problem with him. I don't like that. But again, in the comments section, please feel free to add additional information in regards to the circumstance that you feel might actually further cement OP as being the asshole or potentially vindicating him as not the asshole. I would also imagine it drastically varies by state or potentially by country. So, yeah. Dreek's friend Ford. Am I the asshole for my USB killer frying my friend's PC after she snooped in my bag? 20 female. Friend is 21 female. I always carry a USB killer in my backpack. It looks like any other thumb drive except I stuck a tiny devil face sticker on it, so I know it's the dangerous one. I keep it on me because I still live at home and my parents are super nosy. If I ever left it on my desk, they'd definitely pick it up and plug it into their laptop to see what it is. Yesterday, I had to leave campus in a rush and asked my friend to watch my bag for a bit. I ended up not having time to come back, so I just texted her to take it home and I'd grab it today. She said cool. She gets home, admits she got curious and started looking through my stuff. Finds the devil sticker USB, thinks it's my normal drive, plugs it into her gaming PC to see what files I have, and computer instantly dies. Motherboard and power supply unit completely gone. Now she's mad at me, saying I'm reckless for carrying something like that and I need to buy her a whole new setup, even though she knows she shouldn't have been digging around in my bag in the first place. I feel bad, her PC is dead, but come on, don't snoop and plug random drives into your computer. Am I the asshole? In case you haven't heard this or need to hear this, if you find a USB drive or some kind of peripheral that you're not familiar with, don't plug it into your computer. It's good practice to treat every device that you could potentially be plugging into your computer that you do not know the origin of something that could ruin your desktop, or steal your files, or download ransomware, or God knows what. Hell, even plugging your phone into a USB outlet in a public environment is dangerous. And by that, I'm not talking about a power brick, I'm talking about a direct USB port. But biggest takeaway, in general, overall, is always be cautious with what you're plugging into your computer, what you're downloading, what you're opening. It's just, in general, good practice. As for this story, friend snooped around, she plugged a USB bomb stick into her computer and, well, paid the price for it. Now, personally though, I'm wondering what would cause OP to have to leave campus in such a rush that required them to leave behind their bag. The wording of it makes it sound as though they purposefully had to leave behind their bag and not that they accidentally forgot it. I am not implying that OP purposefully left their bag behind in hopes that their friend would open it and, have their computer get nuked. I'm just saying it's kind of weird that they were in a scenario that required them to have their friend watch over their bag and leaving campus in a rush. Just an odd thing that I noticed there. Don't forget, today we're launching the 3 opossums in a trench coat blush. Coming live and yeah. But you should definitely buy this blush. It is totally not 3 opossums in a trench coat. Totally not. You should definitely allow this completely non-conspicuous, oddly shaped, distinguished gentleman into your home, who will certainly not lay claim to your pantry. This is in fact 3 opossums in a trench coat who will in fact lay complete desolation to your fridge, pantry, and potentially garbage. On sale now!